Okay, a few details about this upcoming test. Test 2 will be given on Thursday, March the 12th, during our regular class time. Please arrive at 10:45 if you can possibly do so for ID seating and checking. And I understand if you can't make it early, but the sooner we get you seated, the longer we'll have for you to take the test. You need to remember to bring your photo ID, preferably EKU if it has photo, or your driver's license, a TI-30X2S calculator. These are the only calculators that are allowed, and you must have one. Well, you want one at the test, and I will not be able to let you check any out this time, so you'll need to bring that. And a note card. Remember, you can bring a note card that's 5 by 8, and it can have anything written on the front or the back of it that's helpful. Sample problems, definitions, whatever you want. There are 2 extra credit questions on this test, and these 2 questions come from section 13.2. That's one question is extra credit from there. And there's an extra credit section from 13.1, which was the Project 2 question on my math lab. So you have 2 opportunities to earn extra credit, so that means you could earn a possible 110% on this exam. About half of the questions on the test will be multiple choice, and about half will be short answer. Remember that there will be roughly 20 to 22 answer blanks on the test, okay? Some questions have multiple parts. The first thing we covered this semester was 13.3 in lecture or recorded lectures. All these sections we have. Be able to answer and read or create any of the following. So you'll have some sort of graph that you'll have to read and interpret, and you'll also have some data where you'll have to put the data into one of these forms of graphs. So these are the forms of graph that you need to know how to read and how to create. Frequency distribution, both grouped or ungrouped. Histogram, those are the bar graph looking things. Frequency polygon, those are the ones that look like line graphs. Stem and leaf plot, those are the kind of weird ones. And a pie graph. Of course, you see pie graphs all the time. So there will be 2 or 3 questions taken from this section on graphing data. In the next section, 13.4, measures of central tendency. Please remember, if this is too fast, that you can stop it and rewind and replay it. So you can pause at any point that it's helpful. You will need to be able to calculate the mean, median, mode, and mid-range. We did all of those this semester, so go back over those. You will need to be able to find the quartile 1, quartile 2, or quartile 3 cutoff given a set of data. Kind of scrolls down that way. I'll mark it off for you, set of data. We had some of that in my math lab. I would review that. You arrange the data, and to find quartile 2, you find the median, and then the bottom half, you use the median of the bottom half to find quartile 1, and the median of the top half to find quartile 3. Okay? And we did do median. So, applications of this, for example, somebody wants to make a B, and here are their test grades so far. What will they have to have on the final to get a B average? Or if they have this many total points so far, what's their average? We did several applications of test averages for another application, but these are favorites of mine. You'll need to be able to create a data set. We did several of these on the recorded lecture. Reviewed these. They give you certain characteristics, and you have to fill in the information for the data set. Okay, and the next section was 13.5, measures of dispersion. This is how things are spread out. You'll need to be able to calculate each of these, calculate the range or the standard deviation given the set of data. You'll need to be able to interpret the standard deviation. We have some examples on page 813, which, remember, you can look at the textbook on my math lab. It's there available if you go looking. One of the left tabs. Number 21 was a good example of this. It's one of those where it says, here are 2 data sets without doing any calculations. Tell me which one has the larger standard deviation. Okay? And we did one of those already in class. So you have seen that, and it also was in my math lab. Okay, and the final section that we covered, there are really not a lot of sections, 4 sections on this test. This is an opportunity to really do well. It's the normal distribution. First, we talked about different types of distributions, and they gave us situations, and we had to identify if that would be a rectangular distribution, normal, J-shape, skewed left, skewed right, or bimodal. Oops, it says bimodal. Should say bimodal. Okay. Those are the types of different distributions. We had a bimodal one. I remember the example was you got the heights of the male and female students, and you took the height of the students and you had a mode around what would have been the average height of the men and average height of the women. So you can look back through the examples on that. We've done some of these. And z-scores, and there are also some in my math lab. The z-scores measure how many standard deviations you are from the mean. And we calculated z-scores given a data point. And we also went the other way when they told us if you have a certain z-score, what is the data point that gives that? So we do two different directions on the z-scores. There will be one of that type. And using z-tables. If you know that z is equal to negative 2.31, then you use the z-table, and I showed you how to look those up. The tables will be provided on the test. Do not panic. You do not need your own table. I will provide you with the z-tables, both the positive and the negative, from the 2 pages that we looked at in class. Okay. And finally, an application of the normal distribution. And we did things here like how long do tires last before they wear out, that kind of thing. So review the applications will probably be one of those. Stuff is pretty equally spread out in terms of points. Some questions, like for example, let's back up one. When we do measures of central tendency, there are 4 things to do. So there might just be one question, which would make it feel like less, but there would be 4 things to calculate at 5 points each. So, you know, there's like 20 points right there on your test. So several questions have multiple parts, but for the most part, I've tried to balance it out. If you have any other questions, please email me about that. I will be checking my email regularly. And remember that the My Math Lab due date is coming up. And since we've had lots of extra time with the snow to get that done, I would like you to get that done on time, no extensions. I wanted to also mention that if you're having any computer issues, I would recommend that you go to Wallace 342, which is the Math Tutoring Center. They have computers there if you need to watch a video on someone else's machine. That's a good place. Or any other computer lab on campus ought to be able to allow you to watch the video. So, of course, if you're watching this video, you figured out how to watch the video, so maybe that's not very helpful. I wish you good luck, and see you soon.